Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel, I hope. Everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Golden Bachelorette fans livid over Joan Vassos' insults to Mark. Golden Bachelorette fans are livid over the way they feel Joan Vassos mistreated Mark Anderson just before sending him home. She said some things that really rubbed fans the wrong way. Perhaps she really just didn't have a connection with him, and this was the easiest way to break it off. Either way, fans did not like it at all. Keep reading to find out more. Golden Bachelorette fans do not agree with how Joan Vassos treated Mark. Joan Vassos and Mark Anderson went on a one-on-one date and seemed to have a decent time. However, some fans did notice there were some very awkward moments during the beginning parts of the date. After thinking about it, Joan went to the mansion to talk to Mark after the following day. Hometown dates were on the line, and she needed to make some decisions. She came to the conclusion that Mark was not the one for her. Fans were okay with her deciding that Mark was not for her. However, it is how she handled it, and what she said to him that struck a wrong chord with viewers. Joan said, "I feel like we bonded in such an important way, and I felt so important. But all these things made me want us to be really good. But I went home last night, and I kept thinking, but I don't know what's missing." She went on to share that something didn't feel right, and she woke up with some clarity. Joan said, "Why did this anger everyone?" Fans were angry at Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos for having the nerve to tell Mark Anderson that his heart is still mending and that she is further along in her healing process. Many argued that she talks about her late husband John every 30 seconds. Joan lost her husband 2 years ago to cancer. Mark lost his wife to cancer as well, but it happened in 2018. Everyone was sad to see Kelsey Anderson's dad get rejected. However, there are also many fans who believe he was set up to be the next lead on The Golden Bachelor. The glow of the chandeliers in the grand ballroom might have added an air of elegance, but the tension was palpable. On The Golden Bachelorette, the contestants were expected to be classy, mature, and respectful, a showcase of love in its later years, without the drama that often defined the regular seasons. Or at least, that was the hope. But Joan Vassos had become the unexpected center of attention, and not in a way that left fans smiling. Joan had, up until this point, been the fan favorite, charming, graceful, and seemingly genuine in her search for love. With her sleek silver hair that seemed to glisten under the lights and her warm smile, she had an air of confidence that was magnetic. However, as the latest episode unfolded, it seemed that her true colors might have begun to show. The group had been enjoying what was supposed to be a romantic evening, filled with laughter, wine, and the kind of conversations that make love bloom. Mark Anderson, who had recently started to break out of his shell, was leaning back in his chair, talking about his childhood and how it shaped him into the man he was today. His openness was refreshing. Mark wasn't the type to boast or make himself the center of attention. But tonight, he was willing to share more than he had in previous episodes. He was trying to connect, to be vulnerable, and to show Joan that there was more to him than his suave exterior. But instead of responding with empathy or interest, Joan's demeanor shifted. She crossed her arms, tilted her head, and let out a slow, mocking laugh that caught everyone off guard. "Oh, Mark, please," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. "You think that's impressive? We've all had hard lives. You're not special." The room fell silent. Mark's eyes widened in shock, clearly wounded by her words. But ever the gentleman, he didn't fire back. He simply nodded, his face betraying a mix of hurt and confusion. The rest of the contestants exchanged glances, unsure of what to do. This wasn't the Joan they knew, at least, not the Joan they thought they knew. The cameras caught every moment, zooming in on Mark's clenched jaw as he tried to regain his composure. Joan, however, didn't seem to notice the impact of her words. She continued talking, dismissing Mark's story as if it were nothing more than a dull anecdote. She went on about her own life, spinning tales of her accomplishments and struggles, as if to one-up everything Mark had just shared. Fans at home were livid. Social media lit up with furious comments as the episode aired. "Who does Joan think she is?" One user tweeted. "Mark was being so real and vulnerable, and she just crushed him with those nasty remarks." Another fan added, "I can't believe how rude Joan was tonight. Mark deserves so much better than her." What made it worse was that Mark had been nothing but kind to Joan throughout the entire season. He had been one of the first to comfort her during emotional moments, often going out of his way to ensure she felt included and appreciated. But now, Joan's response to his vulnerability felt like a betrayal, not just to Mark, but to the audience who had rooted for their connection. In the days following the episode, Golden Bachelorette forums were flooded with theories about why Joan had acted the way she did. Some speculated that she was feeling the pressure of the competition and lashed out in a moment of weakness. Others believed this was the real Joan finally showing herself, the facade of kindness slipping away now that she had gotten comfortable. One fan post that gained a lot of traction was titled, "Joan's True Colors. Was she always this fake?" The post dissected earlier episodes, pointing out subtle moments where Joan had seemed dismissive or self-centered. Though at the time, those moments had been easy to overlook. Now, in the light of her outburst, those instances felt like warning signs that had gone unnoticed. Mark, ever the gentleman, didn't respond to Joan's insult in the moment, but fans noticed a clear shift in his demeanor for the rest of the evening. He became quieter, more reserved, and seemed to pull back from engaging with her. It was as if the spark that had once existed between them had been extinguished, replaced by a wall of indifference. Producers of The Golden Bachelorette capitalized on the drama, teasing the fallout in upcoming previews. Clips of Joan and Mark having what appeared to be a tense conversation were shown, with Mark finally standing up for himself and addressing Joan's hurtful comments. Fans were eager to see if Mark would confront her or if Joan would offer an apology for her behavior. But behind the scenes, things were reportedly even more heated. Rumors began swirling that the rest of the contestants had taken Mark's side, feeling that Joan's behavior was not only disrespectful but indicative of a deeper issue. The camaraderie that had defined the season up until that point was starting to fracture, with Joan finding herself increasingly isolated. Still, Joan seemed unfazed. In a confessional clip aired later in the episode, she defended her actions, saying, "I'm just being honest. If people can't handle the truth, that's not my problem. I'm here to find love, not to babysit anyone's feelings." Her words only added fuel to the fire. Fans were quick to point out that there's a difference between honesty and cruelty. And what Joan had done was not an act of kindness, but one of arrogance. As the dust settled, one thing became clear. Joan Vassos, once the shining star of the Golden Bachelorette, had alienated a large portion of the audience with her cutting remarks to Mark. Whether she would redeem herself in the eyes of fans remained to be seen, but the damage was done. Mark, on the other hand, became a symbol of resilience. Fans rallied behind him, hoping he would find love with someone who truly appreciated his quiet strength and kindness. In the end, Joan's insults might have been meant to belittle Mark, but they only served to elevate him in the eyes of viewers, while her once bright star seemed to dim with every passing episode.